Good morning, friends. I set out to do an Emmaus blog on Monday as per usual, and something held me back and made me pause that day. And I think it just wasn't ready to come to the world yet, or come to my brain so I could help birth it into the world. I've been reflecting a lot over the last evening or so around this passage because of a situation involving some pretty deep grief in my extended family, which I'm not going to name the persons involved, but I would ask you to be in prayer for my extended family, particularly my older brother's extended family. But I was thinking about, of course, we have the men who are walking to Emmaus, and Jesus comes among them, and their first response to Jesus is, "Are you the only one in Israel who doesn't know these things?" And oftentimes when we are feeling like God is silent, or we're feeling less than understood, or we're grieving something deeply, we can respond to God with, "How come you don't know? You should know. You're with me all the time. Are you the only one in my life that doesn't know?" And what I would like to encourage us to do is, in that situation, I think, if we can sink into silence and be still enough with God, we can hear Christ doing for us a similar thing that Christ does for the disciples in this story. Because what we're told next is Christ essentially explains the whole history of Israel to these people, to these men walking along. And no, God is not going to explain the whole history of Israel to us, because that would be very specific and very strange, and maybe God will. I don't know what's going on in your life, but if we slow ourselves down enough, we can hear God saying to us, "I am with you. I was with you in your grief. I am grieving with you. I am in the middle of this situation with you." But that requires us to almost sink into ourselves and silence our center enough to hear God whispering kind, consoling, and confirming words to us. And then we see Christ, act like he's going on and be encouraged by the disciples to stay and eat dinner with him. And of course, Christ reveals himself to the disciples. And I think this is the word I want to leave you with. Oftentimes when we are dealing with a situation where God feels silent and we're wrestling with God, if we sink into the silence enough to hear God finally responding to us, and we start to move towards the healing, at least it's been my experience, right before that healing moment is when God feels the most distance. That is almost like God is going on. God is bringing us to a certain point and then leaving us to figure out our own healing. Which, let me be very clear, is not what's actually happening. I think what's actually happening is God is drawing us towards healing, and God is saying, "You're almost there. You realize I'm with you again. You're so close. but I just need you to be drawn a little bit closer to me and a little bit closer to this situation where I can reveal myself to you. I know it feels like I'm distant to you, but I'm bringing you to the precipice where you're physically, mentally, and emotionally ready for healing. So my question to you is, what are you standing in the middle of? Does God feel silent? Do you need to sink into the silence to hear God whispering about your history and about your healing? Or does God feel distant after a period of feeling close once again? Is God bringing you to the precipice of revealing God's self to you so that you can be fully back in relationship with God? I encourage us all to have patience, to have love for ourselves and others, and to just be on whatever part of the journey we're on. And if things are great between you and God right now, that's awesome. Give thanks for that. All right, friends. Hope you've enjoyed this meditation. All right. Bye-bye.